Hello, this is Daniel from Samdan's Couch. After I received and played with my PlayStation VR2 headset, I noticed a problem I kept having with the VR2 Sense controllers that came with the headset. I have mentioned it in my PlayStation VR2 review video that you can find on this channel as well. But I thought talking about it in a little more in-depth and in my experience with it would help some people who might have the same issue. The problem many VR2 early adopters had, including me, was that when you started a VR game, which required the Sense controllers, wouldn't recognize the controllers and therefore not let you play the game at all. You were getting a screen prompt instead telling you to turn on both VR Sense controllers and that you can't use your regular DualSense controller. This was especially heartbreaking since the main VR2 launch titles, Horizon, Call of the Mountain, No Man's Sky and Resident Evil 8 Village, couldn't be played at all if you were unlucky to have this issue. The wonderful PSVR community on Reddit quickly made a list of possible solutions, starting from resetting the controller with a pin, deleting all paired controllers, rebuilding the PlayStation database, and so on and so forth. All these tips didn't fix my problem though. What worked for me was to boot the games which required a VR2 Sense controllers with the PS5 DualSense controller instead, and then, and not sooner, turn on the VR2 controllers while the game was running. To me, this seemed to be a software or firmware problem at first, so I wasn't too worried about it. But of course I wasn't happy being an early adopter beta tester again. This issue barely made it into the news, and only some media like Eurogamer reported about it, while Sony kept being silent about it. A few days later, some VR2 owners who spoke to Sony technical support are being told now that this problem is indeed a hardware problem and that Sony will exchange said controllers for free. Interesting about this though is that during the first week of me playing the way I just described, actually permanently fixed my VR2 Sense controller by itself. After extensive gaming sessions in No Man's Sky and Horizon Call of the Mountain, my VR2 controllers just worked right away without any more warnings popping up when booting games that require these controllers. In my opinion and personal experience with the VR2 controllers, I suspect that the actual problem might have been that some parts of the thin plastic of the controllers might have plastic residue from production and kept certain buttons to be recognized properly within games. Similar to what some people experienced with their Steam Deck and its buttons. In that case, some plastic was left over after the molding process of the case and buttons, which hindered the buttons from working properly. Through heavy use, the buttons got worn in and actually started to function like originally intended. I suspect something like this is the case with the VR2 controllers as well, since all of my buttons now feel not as stiff anymore and are all responsive as they should have been from the beginning. If you are having issues with your VR2 Sense controllers, I would recommend just playing with them for a while and keep pressing all the buttons, including the PS button, which was originally extremely stiff on both controllers. So if you are having issues, you might want to try this first before sending your controllers back to Sony. Of course you have all the right to do so since you paid a lot of money for a working system. But if you don't want to part with your VR2, I would recommend trying this first and see if it helps. My VR2 Sense controllers haven't shown any more problems for me ever since, and I hope Sony will be optimizing their production process so that no one in the future has to experience this problem. How about you? Did you experience any problems with your VR2 controllers? And what did you do if you did have issues? Let me know in the comments of this video. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to see more of my videos, cool tech reviews and games, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. It really helps me to make more content for you in the future. Until then, I will see you next time on Samdan's Couch.